Welcome back to Level Headed Gamer. My name is Joseph, and this is your video game source for video game news, discussions, impressions, and reviews. And today I want to talk about a couple of games you should be paying attention to in June. The first game I think you should be paying attention to is Chivalry II. It's a 32 versus 32 online medieval multiplayer game where it's a kind of objective based where you have to storm castles and take over various points or just fight each other in a team deathmatch or even a deathmatch style gameplay. I got to play the beta and I gotta tell you, it is a lot of fun with you running around with a footman or an archer or a guy with like a big pike and just slashing at enemies. And from one perspective, it seems like it's a very simple game. It's like really stupid to play. There's no strategy, but actually it's a perfect example of very easy to pick up, but hard to master. There's a lot of intricate mechanics in the game. As a matter of fact, Chivalry 1 pioneered the whole multiplayer melee combat where it's actual taxes to the whole battle. We have to dodge, you have to block, you have to speed up your swings. And then games like Mordhau and Kingdom Come Deliverance and something even like For Honor were inspired by this game, and now Chivalry 2 kind of comes back to really take its throne and show everybody what the original kind of was mastering and really build on top of that. And just judging from the beta, it already, first of all, it's not a fully priced game. There's going to be 8 maps, I believe 8 maps, 3 different modes. It's going to be a lot of fun if you enjoy that type of gameplay, and I think it's going to be something different, and that's why one of the reasons, the main reason I'm telling you guys to pay attention to it. It's a very different game from everything else that we're going to get in the next couple of months or what we got for the past year. The second game I think you should be paying attention to, and should be no surprise, is Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Now, Ratchet and Clank is actually the 10th installment in the video game series, not including a couple of side titles they've created, and it comes from Insomniac Games, the guys who created Spider-Man and Spider-Man Miles Morales, one of the best superhero games of all time. Not to mention they've created Sunset Overdrive and Spyro games, not to mention just the Ratchet and Clank games. They are veterans, so anything they're going to release is going to be automatically gold. Not to mention, it's a game that's going to take full advantage of the PlayStation 5 hardware, whether it's going to be from adaptive triggers and haptic feedback and the 3D spatial audio, but as well as the SSD drive on the PS5 to be able to quickly load in levels and drop your character into different worlds very quickly, really giving you epic sequences and epic set pieces that we're not going to see in other platformers. Not to mention the whole platforming genre, you know, it's kind of dying, and these guys are one of the ones that are keep carrying it on their shoulders in this AAA arena. Not to mention mixing in platforming with some third-person shooting with really crazy wacky weapons and abilities that you get in the game. I think it's a recipe for an absolutely awesome game. And something I mentioned before in my preview for Ratchet and Clank is that the storytelling for Insomniac Games has risen to a really high level, and that is the reason, well, those reasons why I'm so excited for this game. And I think you guys should totally be excited for this game because it's going to offer so much to us, and it's such a high quality AAA style. The next game I think you should be paying attention to that people are not paying attention to enough is Dark Alliance, the Dungeons and Dragons game that's taking place in the Forgotten Realms era. And it's gonna be one of those like Warhammer Vermintide, go out into a level and pillage and loot, collect a bunch of gear, and then go back, finish a level and see what you got, equip it to your character, and trying to level up in this kind of repetitive, very addictive manner. But they're gonna add their own mechanics to it. Besides being a more combo, over-the-shoulder, third-person action-based, it's also gonna have this kind of interesting system where during the level you have a chance to rest at camps. But if you rest at a camp, you decrease the quality of loot you will get in this level. So you can actually risk it and not rest at a camp and keep going and try to keep going further and further in the level to try to get better loot at the risk of dying and repeating from beginning, as well as get to play with classic D&D characters. Now, I'm not too much in D&D myself. I'm aware of the universe, of course, and Baldur's Gate and Neverwinter's Night and all the other games that have come out in that universe. So I know the big deal that this game is going to present. Not to mention Wizards of the Coast, the guys who publish all the material from Dungeons and Dragons, have okayed this game. They want this game to be made. They put their thumb behind it saying, yes, this is good. Not to mention this game is also not going to be a fully priced game. It's going to be a $40 game here in the United States. So it's going to be, I think, one of those games where it's not going to have the AAA productions, but it's going to have the charm and potentially the heart and gameplay, what looks like gameplay to back it up for something that's going to have kind of an addictive looter kind of a dungeon crawler vibe to it. And I think for those reasons, it's going to be a game to pay attention to, because Dungeons & Dragons, who doesn't love a good fantasy game? Come on guys, I do. Another great thing to mention about Dark Alliance is that the fact it's going to be free for anybody who has Game Pass. It's going to be day one on Game Pass, and that's how I'm going to be playing this game, so that you really lose nothing if you already have Game Pass. The last game I believe you should be paying attention to this month is not one that's particularly a new game, but it's Final Fantasy Remake Integrate. Now, the reason I say that, I believe Final Fantasy VII was one of the best games we got in 2020. It was at the end of 2020 in October, and the game was just so fantastic. Now, I myself, I don't like traditional RPGs, turn-based RPGs. I just don't have fun with them. So when I saw the chance to finally experience what many consider to be one of the best storylines in video gaming being remade into more action RPG oriented kind of gameplay, I was right on board automatically. And I love that it mixed the whole idea of still having the tactical turn-based RPG elements, but giving us the more action-based approach, along with the high productions for the cinematics and the storytelling, and expanding the story overall. Not to mention, this whole integrated thing is gonna give it PlayStation 5 boost, so 60 frames per second, upgraded graphics. Not to mention, we're gonna get a whole chapter with Yuffie, which I believe is gonna be a couple of hours. They mentioned it's like 2 or 3 hour gameplay that's going to add on to Final Fantasy VII. So if you didn't experience it back in October, this is going to be a great opportunity to experience it in even a better way. And if you already played it before, it's a great time to come back to replay it or play the new chapter, because it's such a fantastic game. I believe good games never age, and I believe this one is going to be a classic for all time, and this is the best way to play it from what I understand, because it's going to be fully upgraded for the PlayStation 5. You guys think, are you excited for any of these games in June? Are you going to be playing any of those games in June? I would love to know from you, which of the games are you going to be excited for yourself? And I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to subscribe down below for more gaming news, discussions, impressions, and reviews, and stick around for more. You guys, make sure you enjoy the rest of your day. Peace out.